Why be good at one sport when you can be mediocre at 3 sports instead?
Good morning. It's a Monday morning. It's just under 5 a.m. Here at the gym for a swim already. Let me tell you something. I'm not a good swimmer, and I hate swimming. I don't like it at all. But you got to swim to do a triathlon. So I made a goal this year that I was going to swim 200,000 yards in the entire year, because I figure if you're terrible at something, but you commit yourself to doing it over and over again, you got to get better. That's my goal, and that's what I'm working on this morning.
All right, guys, the theme for this week is my goals. So obviously I've been doing triathlon for a long time, completed the Ironman a couple of times. So achieving it, checking it off the list, that's been done. What keeps me going? What keeps me motivated? Well, like most middle of pack, front of pack triathletes, I would love to qualify for Kona one day, and that's my ultimate goal. Now, to get there is a challenging prospect, because where I'm at performance-wise, it's pretty middle of pack. I'm a decent runner. I've done a 3:33 open marathon. Not fast. The point end of the field is running that during an Ironman. On the bike, solid 3.5 watts per kilogram FTP, but not able to hold that for long periods of time, so I got to work on that. And swimming is my weakest link. 145 per 100 yard is my average, so I got a lot of room to make up there. But got a plan. I'm putting in the work. Consistency is king, and that's what I'm about this week and the rest of this Ironman build. All right, y'all. I'm in the hot box again, doing my bike ride for the day. Temperature right now, 100 degrees, but the humidity is low, so that's a good thing. Anyway, I wanted to take a minute and talk about some of my goals. As I mentioned before, number one goal is qualifying for the World Championships. Now, as I mentioned, I'm a long way from the performance parameters and metrics that I need to be to get there. But I think it's important to know what you're shooting for. So I decided to break it down and talk about what do I need to achieve in each of the 3 sports. For swimming, as I mentioned, my base pace is around 145 per 100. I need to get that to at least 130, if not better. They say you can't win it in the swim, but you can definitely lose it. My goal is to get around an hour-long swim. And really the main benefit to being stronger in the pool or in the water is that you come out with more energy because it was not as taxing on your system. So that's the goal there. On the bike, I use best bike split, and I looked at some of the qualifying times. For most races, an Ironman qualifier or World Championship qualifier will have an Ironman bike split between 5 and 5.5 hours. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower. For the last course I did, which was Coeur d'Alene, it was around 5.5 hours. So I typed in there, what would the power requirement be for me to be able to get a 5.5 hour or better bike split? And the answer came out to about 200 watts normalized power. I want to be at the pointy end of the field around 215 watts normalized power. So taking that output, knowing that, you know, the conservative estimates are you want to be able to ride 65 to 70% of your FTP for a Ironman bike split. Doing the math there means my FTP should be between 300 and 330. Now, it's nowhere near there right now, but with training, I could probably get it up to 300. So 300 watt FTP is my goal. Right now I'm about 260. So it's quite a bit of a leap, but with proper training, I should be able to get there. Now, the last piece, the marathon. Ideally somewhere between 3 hours and 3:30 for the marathon, which I've done a 3:33 open marathon. And I think that's either right at the 8-minute pace or closer to 8:30 pace. So I got to drop my marathon pace quite a bit and do that after the run. So the goal there is to get my threshold run pace somewhere between 6 minutes per mile and 6:30 per mile. I think right now my threshold pace is just under 7 minutes per mile. So now you know my goals. My approach to getting them has changed because I did sign up for this Ironman. Before, I was focused on the more patient approach. I threw that out the window because I definitely wanted to get in an Ironman while I could, while it was still around. They've canceled so many Ironmans and removed them from the season altogether. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity to finish Ironman Coeur d'Alene. But in the build up to it, I'm gonna go back to doing some of those foundation blocks, get my minimum volume up to about 8 to 10 hours a week before I get into the serious build phase, focus on layering in that endurance or layering in that intensity and seeing if I can get my FTP up, my threshold swim pace down, and my threshold run pace down, so I'm closer to qualifying. I don't think I'll qualify at the next race that I do. It's gonna take me 2 or 3 more seasons of doing that and backing off from the Ironman distance. But that's the way I'm looking at progress towards my goals. All right, y'all. I'm just under mile 5. Today's workout, 5 miles of zone 2, then finish up with 1 mile, creeping up into zone 5. Really get used to pushing it when I'm already tired. So as soon as this clock hits 5 miles, we're going. Here we go. All right, guys, last workout for the week. I've got a zone 2 run, a little over an hour today, and that's gonna wrap up the week. Should end up at around 9.5 hours or so. Sorry, not much more swim footage or anything else, but there's been a lot going on this week. We've had my wife out of commission for part of it, having to pull some double duty, just getting some things in, other commitments. So next week I'll talk all about how to balance it all, but this week you got a flavor for the goals. And now I'm gonna get this last workout done and bring this week to a close. See you next time.